Welcome to the Jillian Grace Show, the podcast that doesn't just inform, it transforms. I'm Jillian Grace, frequency architect, multi-dimensional strategist, and your guide through the unseen layers of reality. Each episode is a living transmission, crafted to rewrite your patterns, recalibrate your field, and activate the truth encoded in your DNA. We'll navigate the energetic architecture behind relationships, trauma, intuition, purpose, and power, and close with a guided activation to embed the shift into your system. This isn't self-help, it's subconscious reprogramming. This isn't coaching, it's timeline engineering. This isn't content, it's a frequency shift. And if you're done with surface level advice, if you're craving depth, data, and divine disruption, if you're ready to stop performing and start embodying, you're exactly where you need to be. My name is Jillian Grace, and I'll see you there. Before we drop in, a quick note on the name shift. This podcast began as Rewrite Reality with Jillian Grace, but then others started launching copycat shows under a similar name, trying to capitalize on my framework, my voice, and my intellectual property, and I decided to make the pivot. Not out of fear, but out of precision. Because when your signal's that strong, people will try to replicate it. But this frequency can't be faked, and this blueprint can't be borrowed. Moving forward, this transmission will be called The Jillian Grace Show because my name isn't just a label. It's a signature, it's a signal, and it's a claim of power in the space that we helped architect. Same content, same power, same knowledge, but now it's unmistakably ours. Welcome to the original transmission, the one that started it, the one that leads it. Now let's drop in. Hello, and welcome to this episode of The Jillian Grace Show. On this episode, we are going to be dealing with the energetics of family. This is a topic that a lot of people want to ignore, and they never want to handle it head on. So because we're headed into the holidays here in the United States, because there's going to be so many get-togethers, I wanted to give you the knowledge of the energetics of family, what it means, what they represent to you, not just on a human level, but on a soul level, so that you can walk into any of the events that you're going to be having with your family. And you can do that with the empowered knowledge of this is why I'm here. This is what I need to take away from this. And this is how I can move forward from this interaction in a way that helps to expand me and make my energy feel like I'm connected and make me feel powerful instead of walking away and feeling like you wish you would have done something different or why were you here or every single moment was so annoying. It is imperative to be able to move past those ideas when you are around essentially the people you chose to arrive here with. So we are going to chat about the energetics of that family structure to give you a whole different perspective on how to walk into any meetings with family and how to engage with anyone in your family. We are also going to, as we do at the end of every episode, we are going to have a guided talk down, which is going to help you take the energy of what we talked about and allow that energy to become part of the way your flow is, become part of the way your energetic structure is open. So I always take a moment to make sure that when we're done, we have an exchange, we have a transactional frequency flow so that you know how to instill some of these ideas that we chat about in your everyday life. Okay. So in order to understand the power of what happens in a meeting and the energetics of family members, you first have to understand the depth on a soul level of where family members come from. And the first concept you have to be open to really allowing in is the fact that we choose our family. We choose our parents, we choose our siblings, we choose the people that we're surrounded by. And we do that for a variety of reasons. I'm sure there's already people out there going, there's no way I would have chose this, or there's no way I would have put myself through this. Trust me, I have dealt with so many people over the past 2 decades that I've worked with on the energetics of how they move forward within themselves and really begin to architect what they want in their life, to know that this topic can be very challenging for people because many people go through pretty dramatic situations when they are growing up. And a lot of those situations end up staying with them and affecting their decisions throughout adulthood. The faster you can understand the concept of why you chose the things you chose,
the faster you begin to take control of the driver's seat of where those decisions can go towards and what they can mean for you and how they can build you up rather than tear you down. So, when we're chatting about choosing our family and that being something we do on a soul level, I want you to also understand that nothing is random. So you didn't randomly end up with this set of parents and these siblings out of absolutely nowhere because this is a randomized experiment that has no capabilities of having an order to it. We make these decisions and we make them from what some would call their higher self position, what some would call their soul level understanding. There are so many different terms for that part of ourself that is the all knowing or that knowledgeable piece. And regardless of what you call that knowledgeable piece, its objective is to make sure that you are growing, that you are expanding, and that you are stepping into the truth of what your soul is calling you towards. And when we make those decisions to come to earth or to come to this plane of existence with those souls, there's always a theme. When we choose our parents are often comprised of people who have similar issues to what we have. And in those issues, they also are struggling to make their own peace with those issues. And when we're children and we are watching people that are doing things in our life, we often choose who we want to be based on choosing who we don't want to be. A lot of our lessons, as opposed to seeing someone and wanting to emulate what they're like, which is another mode of really directing who we want to be. But the more powerful mode of choosing what we do want to become is by seeing people that we don't want to be like. So I want you to sit with that for a moment. And I want you to look at, in a lot of cases, the more significant relationships in your past, especially growing up. So many of the people that you were surrounded by were going to emulate themes in which taught you what you did not want to be in an effort to help you learn who you want to be. And oftentimes, the people that we chose to come to this plane with, the people that we chose to have these lessons alongside of, not only do they have similar lessons, they have similar, what people would call karma, or similar periods of what's necessary for them to grow, or similar themes for them to expand on. And this is why a lot of people will say that different themes seem to coincide very strongly with families. So a family that has a lot of people who are addicts in it, they tend to perpetuate that cycle. Each and every one of those individual souls that come into that family also have karma around addiction. So when I say karma, what does that word mean? Because it has so many different connotations with the way that we have pushed forward that idea of karma or that idea of learning, that some people get stuck on that. What I mean by karma is we have things that we need to learn in order for our souls to grow. And we potentially made a mistake when we were learning them in a past time or in a past way. Now, I've briefly touched upon this podcast the concept of past lives, and I've explained that it's not necessarily this individual piece of you that continues to come back over and over again. It's more aligned with soul groups or groups of individual souls that come for different lessons. So that is something that everyone has their own personal take on. Everyone has their own personal opinion on. It's okay to have that. But when I say karma, I mean it's something that you came forward that was a lesson that was necessary in order for you to expand upon it and in order for you to grow. So not every single one of us are perfect people. Not every single one of us are these souls that have nothing to be concerned about in our growth pattern. Not every single one of us are all-knowing and unable to be tainted by ego. Most of us have our vices. And when we have lives where sometimes those vices take over, we create what's called karma. Or when people in our soul group have lifetimes where those vices take over, they create what's called karma. And it's interesting to understand for everyone at any level, no matter where you are spiritually, that karma isn't necessarily a vice that you get drawn into. It can be the way society is. So if all of society has different beliefs about a certain type of individual and they treat that certain type of individual negatively, even though that's socially acceptable for the times, you are still creating karma. You are still creating a negative frequency that is going to stay within your frequency until it's rectified. And in the event that you leave this earth with it still within your frequency, then you will pass that on to others in your soul group who come after you, or the offspring that come into your family or that get born into your bloodlines after you leave. So we all hold what's called some ancestral karma within us. And within that ancestral karma, we choose to come back to this earth with some of those ancestors to make it right. So that's where it comes to choosing our parents and our family. We are literally making decisions to be with people that are going to press our buttons. They're going to bring out within us what we need to heal. And they're going to put on a pedestal what's necessary in order for us to know so that we can move forward as souls. What this often does is cause a lot of triggers, because nothing is more triggering than being in a room or being surrounded by individuals or people who carry the things that you are not very proud of within you. They bring that out. So let's say you have a propensity to be very hateful or very angry. When you're around your family, you're going to find that that gets squeezed out of you, that becomes something that for some reason you're constantly moving forward at that level or at that point or with that emotion. And it's very easy to blame the individual who is in front of you and that emotion is coming out directed towards. We do this all the time. And that's why I did a podcast on triggers, to make you understand on an energetic level why they even exist. Why can a stranger say something to you and you'll pass it over? But when somebody who is connected to you in a karmic level within your structure of a soul group, you lose your mind and get so angry. Well, that's why. Because one's distinct purpose is to teach you that lesson, that part of you that lives within you, that wolf that you're feeding, that should no longer be getting the nourishment that you're constantly sending towards it. That aspect of you that is here to be healed, but keeps being reinforced. Our parents are the keys for those things. They teach us all of those parts of ourself that we need to work on and we need to let go of. And then we expand on that through siblings, through people that we choose to be our equals. And we will have a person in our sibling group that reminds us that we are lazy, or a person in our sibling group that reminds us that we don't love ourselves or respect ourselves enough, and a person in our sibling group that doesn't care about any level of affection and just is mad all the time. You will have those outer reflections represent themselves in your siblings, and they are a reflection back so that you can see what needs to be healed within you. And this is where it gets very complicated for people to understand. They often think the only way to heal their family is to distance themselves from it. And in 99% of the cases, that isn't true. I do understand that there are some abusive situations that happen in families. I've encountered them very rarely as actually abusive situations in families in the work that I've done. A lot of people will say their family is abusive when really their family is just triggering to them. So they get really caught up in this narrative that a lot of the mental health counselors who really don't know what they're doing and have no idea what energy is and do not heal anyone, what their terminology is, and they'll give them terminology that will then cause that person to put fuel to the fire and be able to blame someone else for why they feel. That's never going to happen on this podcast. I'm never going to tell you to blame another individual for how you feel. I am only going to consistently give you a mirror so that you can look within and you can heal the reason that you're bringing those things towards you. That's how you create true healing. You don't create true healing through the blame game. You create more victimization, which, as I've talked about many times on any one of my podcasts, creates you to become extremely controllable, extremely predictable, and to lose control over your ability to manifest or create your own reality. Because the moment you start to think that something outside of you is bigger than you and can make you feel or do anything, that's when you give away your own true power. So that's never the case. And when we are encountering individuals that trigger us in a certain way, that part of us that we don't like can come out. So it's easy for a mental health counselor to convince us that that part of us is not us, it's them. I need you to remove that terminology from your mindset if you want to become a creator, if you want to become an architect in your reality, because you can't be both a creator and a victim. Otherwise, you're a victim of your own creation. It's extremely important that you step back and you make that realization and you come to peace with those terms. So, when we are in situations with people in our life and people that are in our family structures and we feel triggered, it becomes increasingly important to be aware of what's taking place. So, first, you're only going to be triggered by something that they're doing or a way that they're behaving if that already resides within you. Classic example. Let's say that you think you have a beautiful outfit on and you look amazing, or you think you look absolutely perfect for the day. When you walk down the street, let's say one or two people compliment your outfit. You're very, very aware, very happy, very content with your choice. And then you come up to another person and they say, "Oh my God, I hate that outfit. You look awful." You will actively choose to not even feed into what that person said who told you your outfit looked awful because you don't believe it. You'll walk past and think they must be jealous. They must think that I look better than them. They must be having a bad day. You'll think of a million different excuses if you even pay them enough attention at all to think through why they said that. And the reason for that is because you don't believe it yourself. So therefore, it can't solicit a response from you. Now, when we are around people that are able to solicit a response, the reason they're able to do that is because deep down we believe what they're saying. And deep down they're pushing buttons that are bringing something out of us that we don't like. And I want you to start viewing your interactions with your family in this way. When you are with the people that you love, when you're with the people in your family, when you're at those family occasions, if you find yourself feeling triggered, or you find yourself feeling annoyed, or you find your mood being swept away by the situation around you, I want you to become very aware of asking yourself, okay, how did this make me feel? And what you're going to find in the answer to that word is the exact part of you that is missing, or that is lost, or that needs to be healed. So if you're at a family get together and someone criticizes the way that you cooked a certain dish or what you brought to the occasion, and your first thought process is that you're really angry and you're really annoyed with that, then what I want you to do is I want you to step back and I want you to say to yourself, how did that make me feel? Well, it made me feel not good enough. It made me feel like I can't do anything right. It made me feel like I can never make a positive contribution. You're going to find that that emotion that you believe was brought out at that specific situation actually is within you already. And there's other areas of your life where you are feeling not good enough, and you're feeling like you can't do anything right, and you're feeling like you can't make a good contribution. And when you recognize that there are those other areas, as soon as you bring something to your forefront of having an awareness, you can then start to heal it. You can then start to work on it.
Before we continue, let's take a breath. You're here for a reason, not by accident, not by coincidence, but through divine orchestration, and these words were meant for you. This is your moment to rewrite humanity. Think of one soul in your life who needs this transmission and send them this podcast episode now. There are so many out there who are silently struggling. Our role is to reach them, to ignite something ancient and true. Whether it's someone you love, someone lost in the noise, or someone ready to remember who they are, this is your chance. Because vibrational awareness doesn't just shift minds, it realigns lifelines. It reawakens paths. It reconnects souls to their original blueprint. Be the bearer of that light. It isn't just generous, it's sacred work. Share this, speak it, seed it. This is more than a podcast. It's a movement, and you're a vital part of it. Let's rewrite humanity together, one frequency, one soul, one remembrance at a time. Now we continue.
That means next time you go into an interaction with something and you get that same feeling, or you go into an interaction with someone and you get that same emotion that makes you feel like you aren't doing everything you can or that you're not good enough, you can catch it and you can be like, okay, I know that I'm feeling not good enough. I know that this is coming out within me. What do I need to give myself to make myself feel important? And this is where there's often a disconnect between people and their healing. They'll identify what it is, they'll identify that it's there, but they can't identify how they can rectify it. So I always tell people, pull out a first person when that happens, and move yourself into a position where you are assisting someone you love. So let's say you have a loved one, a child, someone that you care deeply about that comes up to you and says, you know what, I feel like I don't contribute to anything. I feel like I'm not good enough. I want you to pay attention to the dialogue that you would have in that interaction. You would assure them that absolutely they're good enough. Absolutely they contribute. Absolutely it's important that their presence is there. And I want you to turn that dialogue onto yourself. I want you to start to become that inner peace that you're seeking. Because the more you can extract that part of you that is telling you what you need to hear, the more you're going to bring that part of you to life. And you're going to start to heal whatever area has been left in karma, whatever part is stuck, whatever thing you came here to learn. As soon as you start giving it to yourself, you're going to start extracting the healing that you've always been looking for. That healing always gets perpetuated in the home first. So I want to spin this out for just a moment to give you a deeper perspective on how important being able to be and spend time with your loved ones truly is. And I know that I did chat about that there are some circumstances where there's outward abuse. And what I mean by abuse is physical abuse or extreme mental abuse, or people are at the state of being addicts to a point where you have healed that part of yourself and you don't want the exposure to it. I'm not talking about people who are poking at you or making you feel uncomfortable, or they just don't accept something about you. That isn't the truth around healing. That isn't the truth around having the knowledge of yourself and the knowledge of what you need in order to heal. You aren't protecting yourself by staying away from those individuals. You're just making it so other people in your life come and give you that same feeling. So you can run away from the things that you need to heal, but you're going to find that they start to repeat themselves in different faces, in different forms, no matter how many people you push away or how many roadblocks you try to put up. There will be circumstances where people will be brought into your life that force you to look at these aspects. So it's easier to do them from the family and to become aware of them from that baseline. And the strangest part about frequency and about energy is when you heal that. So let's say you have an awareness that this is occurring. You know that this happened in your family. They pushed your buttons on a certain topic. And then you step aside and you start to give yourself what's necessary in order to create peace within. Then all of a sudden, the way that they treated you, when you go into interactions, you're either not going to notice, it's not going to bother you, or they're not even going to do it. I've seen it happen way too many times where all of a sudden full relationships shift just by someone releasing, letting go, and working on their stuff. Not by having a conversation with their loved one to teach them about boundaries or give them higher parameters. Not by saying, okay, this is how I feel and this is how you need to accept it. Not even speaking a word to the other individual. Just changing within, and the energy frequency changes on the outside. It's like magic. So what I want everyone to do for this holiday season, in the event that you're going to be in some situations that are not your most best or your finest moments, I want you to bring a journal with you or have a part on your phone, a notes area on your phone that you can pop into and you can write anything that you're triggered by, anything that brings up a feeling within you. And by doing that, by the end of this year, you are going to have a list of what you need to be working on come the new year, because that's the parts of you that are holding you back. Those are the aspects of you that you came in to rectify. And the power of you being able to know how to do that and to begin to know that it's there, even for you to look at, that is priceless. And that is going to be worth 1,000 therapy sessions for the next decade to come. Work on it piece by piece. And if you have any concerns on how to work on it, I have a wonderful masterclass that talks about the top 15 things that people get stuck on when it comes to the things that they're trying to heal in their life. Whether it's forgiveness, whether it's being able to accept certain circumstances that happen, whether it's guilt. That entire masterclass goes through it piece by piece and then gives you mind, body, and spirit methods of how you can break that frequency up, rewrite those neurons, and completely shift your perspective. I'll put a link to that in this podcast because it is extremely powerful and it's the answer to a lot of these things that get stuck from the experience that I have worked on it for the past 20 plus years. So I know it works. And the first thing I want to do is let everyone have an awareness of how they heal themselves because through that healing, that's when you become free. Okay, so now I'm going to move into our guided talk down for the week. And this you can come back to as often as you want. I want you to come back to this because you're going to have a lot of opportunities throughout the next several weeks where you're going to be triggered or there's going to be things that come up emotionally that you need to heal. So as we do this guided talk down, and I provide you with this transmission. This can be your go-to thing when you are in the middle of that holiday craziness and your buttons get pushed and it starts to seem like things are going out of control. You can take a quick step away. You can put some earbuds in. You can put your phone down low and sit and hide yourself in a room. And you can do this talk down and it will allow you to release and reset what's necessary for you to move forward. And the other great part about this talk down is you're at a time of year where the energy of all of the alignments and everything is working in direct tandem to your goal. So this is the perfect time to start healing. It's the perfect time to really make that connection and to let all of this go. So I'm going to join you to take a deep breath with me. You can either close your eyes or keep them open. Just being someplace where you can be alone, where it can be somewhat quiet is key. The first thing I want you to do is imagine roots extending from your body to the earth. Anchor your energy in both safety and stability. So take that breath in, and as you breathe out, reinforce those roots, anchoring into the earth. Feel the earth supporting you, reminding you that you are held and you are protected. Bring to mind your family. Don't picture them as individuals. Picture them as energetic code, different colors, different lights. Don't connect with their physical beings. Don't bring to mind what they look like, just the energy. Look at them for what they are, the energy of souls that have traveled with you across lifetimes. They've carried lessons and they've carried mirrors alongside to show you what needs to be released and healed. Release the need to want to make them something that they aren't, to want to let the ego name them, shift their true meaning, hide behind them, and not accept yourself. Take a deep breath and let that emotion go. They aren't responsible. They are only guides. Notice any triggers, emotions, or karmic patterns that rise.
Allow them to surface without any judgment. Visualize a gentle light flowing from your heart and expanding outward to each one of those energetic representations of your family members. From your energy to theirs. Repeat silently. I release the triggers that no longer serve me. I forgive the lessons. I forgive myself. I forgive them. Imagine cords of old karma dissolving into the light. As these cords dissolve, they leave only love and wisdom behind. See yourself surrounded by your soul group. But now the energy feels lighter and freer. Recognize that each family is not a pedestal or a prison. It's a sacred classroom. Whisper to yourself, I choose growth. I choose peace. I choose evolution. Take a deep breath in, feeling the release. Exhale, letting go of what is no longer yours to carry. Slowly return to the present moment, grounded, lighter, and more open. You are ready. Feel free to repeat this meditation before or after your family gatherings, or anytime you feel those old karmic triggers surfacing. It's that time of year. It's the time to release. It's the time to be right. And it's the time to step into the new you. My name is Jillian Grace. Thank you so much for listening to the Jillian Grace Show. If you enjoyed or got anything out of anything we talked about today, please share this podcast. It's only through sharing that we will grow. And if you're feeling extra generous, take a moment to write a review. That helps it so that we can get into the algorithm and the show can actually be recommended to others to help them change their life. As always, my name is Jillian Grace, and I'll chat with you next week. Thank you for listening to The Jillian Grace Show. You've just experienced a frequency shift. Don't let it fade. If this episode moved something in you, share it. Send it to someone who's ready to remember who they are. And if you're called to go deeper, subscribe, leave a review, and stay tuned because this is just the beginning. I'm Jillian Grace, and this is more than a show. It's a signal, it's a recalibration, and it's a return to your original blueprint. Until next time, stay aligned, stay awake, and keep architecting the reality that remembers you.